Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. It's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And we've been talking about the legacy media out there dying off and kind of fading away into the background. We've obviously seen a lot of the statistics and the different polls out there showing that media trust for the general public out there has drastically dropped in about the last decade and probably going back even farther than that. And boys and girls, we've seen a lot of the massive layoffs that have came with all of that kind of stuff, because when you produce a bunch of journalism that is ideologically driven with a bunch of salacious headlines that don't actually have any substance, well, eventually you start to lose readers that actually want good quality news and entertainment and unbiased journalism. Well, one of those places out there in the entertainment sphere, one of those that used to be the flagship for so many major brands out there in entertainment, one of the things that used to be a gold standard out there, boys and girls, was none other than Polygon. I remember going to Polygon back in the day, but because after salacious headline and a bunch of nonsense agenda-driven storytelling and a bunch of activism using their platform to destroy people, well, guess what? Just like so many other out there in the media institutions, it's go woke, go broke, baby, because Polygon sold the game brand owner Valnet, followed by immediate mass layoffs of Polygon staffers. And boys and girls, you've probably heard the name of Valnet out there because they've been responsible for garbling up a bunch of other failed entertainment websites such as Screen Rant, The Gamer, and so many others, because those places got infested by the spirit of the age, agenda-driven people in their editorial staff and in their writers, and people who probably wanted to actually write about politics but couldn't cut it, ended up writing for video games and entertainment magazines, and ended up completely and totally making them nothing more than agenda-driven shills for the spirit of the age. And now, just like so many other things, it's going completely and totally bust. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to thatparkplace.com's lovely little article giving you all of the juicy details, as well as show you off some examples of exactly what we're talking about with Polygon and why it's absolutely beautiful, just desserts for all of these insane activists to lose their jobs. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just sailed past 1,800. We're getting our way closer and closer to 1,900, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Do you one of those fans of Polygon back in the day? Are you sad to see it end up like this after all of the years of loving it? Were you able to there to watch the sharp decline as things continue to go farther and farther down? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to join, if you'd like to support this channel, please check out the links in the description down below and think about becoming a member, which will get your name at the end credits of every single one of these videos and of all of our live streams. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Montanaro. And of course, let me premise this, as I know not everybody at these companies are all activists. We do know that a lot of them are, and specifically their leadership very much is, because one of those people's leaderships, one of those people who's responsible for pushing this agenda and destroying people's lives, of course, has now been laid off as well, and we'll show you that example here in just a little bit. Polygon, the gaming site that was once the flagship brand of Vox Media's digital publishing empire, has been sold to Valnet, the Canadian media conglomerate behind Game Rant, Screen Rant, The Gamer, and a slew of other SEO-focused websites. Immediately following the sale, most of the staff quickly found themselves Polygon when a wave of layoffs swept through key editorial, including former and editor-chief Chris Palante. Yes, boys and girls, Chris Palante. And shout out to Montanaro for the Polygon joke as well. And we're going to get to Chris Palante into just a second. In press release, Valnet celebrated the acquisition as perfectly aligned with its gaming portfolio, boasting that Polygon would join the ranks of other outlets like DualShocksters, Fexter Life, and The Open Critic. The company described its approach as one of proven operational excellence. But for a long time, Polygon staff, the transition appears, have been brought more downsizing than opportunity. Now, why would the company even be in such a place to be bought out by this own company if they were doing such great historical an actual editorial and good just general reporting. Well, that would be Chris Palanti, one of those gentlemen that have just recently lost his job. What is Chris Palanti responsible for? Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's the headline from Chris Palanti and Ariel Duhamel Ross. So Chris Palanti had moved his way all the way up to editor-in-chief over there at the Polygon, boys and girls. Now, this was all about a gaming announcement, some amazing announcements for some new video games out there, the launch of something wonderful. And this gentleman right here was the creator, one of the head creators that was responsible for all of that kind of stuff. And this, instead of commenting on the game, commenting on all of the design, commenting on the new features, what they'd be excited about, maybe some of the bugs, some of the things they might be worried about. No. Chris Palanti, who has now been fired from Polygon, okay, decides to use his platform to write this headline. I don't care if you landed a spacecraft on a comet. Pretty sure Chris probably wouldn't have the brain power to do that. Your shirt is sexist and ostracizing. That's one small step for man, 3 steps back for humankind. So, boys and girls, mind you, maybe this wasn't for a video game announcement. Maybe this just was something really cool, science and spacey, because Polygon used to cover some stuff like that. I completely was wrong about the backstory. My only point was, this was the headline that I wanted to use, that showed no matter what they were reporting on, they instead used it to push their own personal agenda. Now, mind you, for a little backstory on this as well, I remember this story. I remember parts of the story. This guy's shirt was actually made by a female friend of his and was gifted to him, right? A female that this man, Chris Palanti, is speaking for. Chris Palanti is speaking for women everywhere, trying to white knight for them, while it was a woman that made this shirt, which basically just has a bunch of sexy female characters on it, right? I know, God, the horror. I mean, Chris, from the next tweet that we're going to get into from you apparently have children. So you're either a virtue signaling liar, because I'm sure you like to see your significant other that you had children with, i.e. hopefully your wife, right? Looking beautiful, looking sexy. So either you're a virtue signaling hypocrite or you're a beta soy male that literally the only way you ever get into a woman's pants is by a pity screw. Okay? And you just happen to get lucky and one of those turned into a kid. Either way, all things for the glory of God. I'm glad there's another kid here. But you know what else I'm really glad about, Chris? Your layoff, buddy. Because that was the other thing. Let me give you a little more backstory. This story started a firestorm across all of the legacy media institutions out there. This guy got blackballed from everything. They canceled his entire life and all of his future opportunities because of a shirt that was made for him by a woman that he wore at this event. And it all started with Chris Palanti. Chris Palanti ruined this man's life. And like Ollie said here, time is a gentleman. Because where's Chris Palanti at now? I'm no longer with Polygon. If you're hiring, please consider the many talented writers and editors now on the market. Every one of them deserves a spot on your staff. I won't be talking more about the sale because I wasn't involved. Why would you be? You're the one responsible for the devastation of Polygon and why it was even for sale to begin with. But like I said, the bright spot, he gets to go hang out with his kid. Unfortunately, not so bright for the rest of the people working at Polygon. Nicole Carpenter. I'll say more later, but I no longer have a job. I'm looking for work, as are so many of the amazing colleagues. I have lots of ideas and things I'd like to write. I'm really in shock. And of course, this is from Blue Sky. So where do you think Nicole aligns on the political spectrum, boys and girls? Another one from Blue Sky as well. Anna Diaz. I'm among the many folks who got laid off today. Don't have anything good or thoughtful to say on it at the moment. Gutted, sad, feel completely Fox Media Management forever. They did this on May Day. Fox Media Union forever. Oh, that's right. On May Day, your communist propaganda day. Yeah, Peter Volk, also from Blue Sky. Along with just about everyone else at Polygon, I'm now out of a job, ending over a decade at Vox Media for me. Working at Polygon was a wonderful experience, and I'm proud of the work I did there. He's proud of the activism he did there. I will be looking for work, as well as starting my own projects on the side. How well did that work out for Don Lemon? Stay tuned. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and assume if they're on Blue Sky, they're a left-wing woke nut job, okay? Harken me back. Yell at me all you want in the comments for it. I don't really care. These are woke activists that have destroyed people's lives and destroyed some of our favorite fandoms and IPs. Screw these people. I'm glad they're out of a job. I was just thinking earlier this week, man, I love my job, and I'm so excited to jump into summer blockbuster season. Oh, and look, this one's got pronouns in her bio. She, her. And now I don't have a job, so... Oh, well, I guess sometimes you get exactly what you deserve. For fans and critic likes, the end of Polygon's era under Vox marks a shift, not just ownership, but an identity. Whatever vision Valnet has for the site, it's clear the first step involves sweeping out much of the team that built it and also destroyed it. I.e., their editor-in-chief, their wonderful leader, Chris Planty. So guess what? I don't feel bad. Oh, there were a few people out there that were probably good, level-headed folks that were probably just doing their jobs and trying to collect a paycheck. Absolutely. There always are. But your leadership wasn't one of them. Your leadership were activists like Chris, who used the platform of your company to push their political agenda. You should be just as pissed at them for losing their job as I am, and as happy as I am that they lost their job as well, because they did this to your company. They destroyed it from the ground up, from the top down, and from the inside out, just as all of their philosophical leaders told them to do. They used their platform to push an activist agenda and destroy people's lives. And guess what? History and God himself is absolutely just, because you have gotten exactly what you deserved, Polygon. It might have taken longer than some of us would have hoped, but God works on his own time frame after all. And now almost every single one of you have lost your jobs. And Chris and all of the rest of you woke activists over there at Polygon, you've gotten exactly what you deserved.